There are more things to do with your community than to go out and go to the function.
Are you doing this to connect with your people, or are you doing this to show off?
There are some people who love to do that, so they just do that.
Right.
But
if it's hard for you and you're like stressed about it, you don't have to do too much.
The goal of this episode is to give you all some solutions to those problems we've been posing when it comes to community.
And I feel like we have to realize that we are the community that we need. We just have to share and tell people what we want to do. I don't know. Would we schedule our time to go out to eat?
No.
I don't think so.
This is Sistas Declassified, the podcast where
Taylor
and Taryn,
your virtual sisters, share experiences, insights, and of course the juicy secrets that never leave the sister circle.
So shh, listen up. The Declassified convos are starting now. Welcome back to Sistas Declassified. We're the real life sisters who decided to start a podcast instead of kikiing on the phone.
Before we get started, we wanted to remind you guys to subscribe so that you can get your weekly dose of declassified moments.
So proud of you. So we're going to jump right in today because the goal of this episode is to give you all some solutions to those problems we've been posing when it comes to community and really finding places to connect with people that are intentional, but also within your boundaries.
Whether that's your budget or just places that you're okay with going. Also just considering, like, is every activity that you go to with loud music and alcohol, is everything surrounded by food and activity that doesn't allow for like long-term and strong connection?
I think that's our declassified moment for today. There are more things to do with your community than to go out and go to the function. There are more things to do than listen to loud music, even eating food or drinking. So we want to give you all a list of a bunch of random things we think you should try and a few that we hope to try with our community moving forward.
And I think the first one and the thing that sparked this idea is that you had something that you wanted to do for your birthday,
which I'm still on the fence about. I don't know if, I think when this episode comes out, my birthday,
it'll be the week after your birthday.
Yeah. So we'll see what I actually end up doing. But I've seen this online before. It's not original, but like, I like when people have PowerPoint parties. Have you ever heard of them?
I mean, just that you wanted to have one.
Okay, so let me explain the PowerPoint party. You can do it and you can have it themed on anything, but like my original thinking was like, I don't know what my friends do for work, and like I might know their title, but I think it'd be really funny to like have everyone create a quick presentation to like explain their job, and it could be as funny or as like serious as you want it to be. But like Steve from accounting and like hearing what you do every day, just to be able to know what like your life is like a little bit more, because I don't talk to all my friends every day. I don't necessarily know what's going on in the day-to-day, but I think it'd be kind of a silly way to bond and get to know each other a little bit more.
I could see it being fun if it was a PowerPoint party that's like roast my job, or like a role play party that's like roast my job.
Okay, maybe I need help thinking of the theme, but you get me. I just think it'd be I could see people getting into it if the theme is exciting enough that people are ready to spill the tea.
And I will say that I do think a lot of people want to talk about their jobs and like what they do every day.
Or themselves in general.
Yeah. I mean, it takes up a lot of their day-to-day life. So like somebody valuing it and having conversation about it and allowing you to have a space to have conversation about it could be really nice. Now, whether people can actually attend and pay attention to it, I don't know.
I mean, you put a time limit on it. You only got 3 minutes or something. You're mindful of how many people you invite. So maybe it's like 5 people. So like I'd do it with like Mora and Kita Spinner, So it's just like 3 or 4 of us doing it. It'd be fun.
Got it. So that's one idea for your type A friends. And something that I thought of and that I was actually trying to do with my friends, but we ended up having to reschedule back in April, which then turned into just didn't happen. But we were supposed to have a flower arrangement party, and I was calling it Blooms and Brunch. No, what was it called? Oh, Blooms and Bites, because we were supposed to all bring our own mini charcuterie and then also bring like a thing of flowers. And so that was something that we wanted to do, which obviously does cost you a little bit of money in the front end of like, we were all supposed to bring a bunch of flowers of whatever is your favorite, and then we would combine them to make our own flower arrangements. And then everybody was supposed to bring a little charcuterie that was something different. So you just signed up for something, but it could be easy. Your charcuterie could just be bags of chips. It could have been like frozen nuggets. I don't know.
Frozen nuggets.
But I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be something super extravagant. Like, we always see all these things on TikTok or Pinterest, and it's like this most overdone, and like they really knew all the aesthetics to make it look good. It doesn't always have to be like that, especially when it's your first time and everything isn't for the gram.
Yeah, you got me thinking, like, oftentimes when you're seeing that, people are being paid.
Mm-hmm.
They are either creating that content for their portfolio, or they've got a brand partner who's sponsored this party that they're doing. Like, just be mindful when you see those. There's some people who love to do that, so they just do that.
Right.
But
if it's hard for you and you're like stressed about it, you don't have to do too much.
Yeah, and I would actually say, like, that's for me a mental note. I've actually kind of swung the other way with recording everything. I used to record everything everywhere we went all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I've stopped doing that for some reason lately, but I think I would want to like record this party and document it. But when you already have the party to do and then you put the internet in the back of your mind, it makes it so much less fun sometimes.
Right. And also just remembering your goal. Like, are you doing this to connect with your people, or are you doing this to show off? So if you're doing it just to connect, like, it doesn't have to be photogenic all the time. It can just be. But that's a conversation for another day. We're just supposed to be talking about things you can do. But we just want to say that you can give yourself grace, and it doesn't have to be perfect.
Okay, what are some other things on the list? I've done this one before. For one of my friends, I think it was like a low-key baby shower. We did a candle making class at what's it called? Something Aromas in San Jose. If I remember, I'll tag them or something. But it actually, I wasn't sure how it was going to be at first, but we had the place to ourselves, so it was a bit of a vibe. We got to smell a bunch of scents. They helped us make candles, and we got to take them home, which was nice.
Yeah, and not only can you do that at a place, but that's something that's easily done at home. You can buy wax, you can get little candle making kits, candle making kits. And it can easily be something that you do without having to go to a place and paying somebody for the activity.
Yeah, and it's relatively low lift, right?
And I think something you listed or talked about in the last episode, but that we have on this list, is like going and having a picnic in the park. You can have talking points that you want to make sure that you touch on, and obviously you don't want it to feel like inauthentic.
Yeah.
But I think if you want it to be intentional and to have purposeful conversation, sometimes you have to know what you're going to say before you arrive, and that doesn't make it a bad thing. It doesn't have to happen that way, though. Obviously, if you just know, like, I'm going to the park just to hang out, fine.
Right.
But if you're also trying to use this space to grow and be better, like, sometimes you might have some things to talk about in your mind.
Yeah. And I think I like how you said it's nice to have a plan B if your plan A is just a vibe.
But also it could turn into yoga in the park. Like, it could be a lot of different things. And so depending on what you're interested in, a public place doesn't have to just be outside. Like, it could be that you are creating it and making it into your oasis for your activity.
That's true.
It's super easy to rent out benches or tables at a park and make it into whatever you want. They don't really give you many limits on what you can do.
True. Just clean up after yourself. Okay, what else is easy low lift? A non-board game night. I like board games though, but I get the point. The idea is to do something a little bit different than your Monopoly or Scrabble. There's a bunch of different like card games, to your point about like bringing something to ask questions. There are lots of games out there that you can purchase that can have like conversation starters, but also that are games to like, I don't know, I'm trying to think like what's the one we play with the black people?
The one with the black people.
Or music, something. We played it.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what the name of it is off the top of my head.
Dang.
But yeah.
But there's lots of games out there that are unique or different. Or you could bring back some old school games. Do you remember the doctor one with the buzz?
Sorry? I mean, not
No.
sorry. No, the Operation.
Yeah. Bring out some old school games.
And add a twist on it. But yeah, I think just asking yourself, can you are you willing to do these things without being drunk? Because I feel like that's part of it. It's like everybody wants to have the mimosa or the shot or whatever in order to connect with and hang out with their people. And why is that?
I don't know. That's not me.
I know that's not you, but I just feel like it's this, and it's just I can't talk today. It's an accessory, like to just bring your bottle along.
Yeah. And I mean, some people just enjoy it, right? So I don't want to knock it, but I do think a game night where your wits are about you is probably a little bit different than a game night where you're carefree.
Right. Your inhibitions are low.
Mm-hmm.
Some other thoughts, though, that we had, and maybe these ones are a little bit easier to do without drinking because you can't necessarily function the right way. But just like the book club, and we've talked about the run club, or just activities where you are going to do a collective thing.
Mm-hmm. The run clubs over at the lake have gotten big from what I've seen.
They are really big. Actually, my friend texted me like, "Hey, have you heard about the run club on Wednesdays?" And I was like, "I have. I'm not coming."
My body won't. My body can't do that.
I also just don't want to run with a large group. I'm not big on running in the first place. Like,
self-conscious.
no, it's not even self-conscious. I just don't want to.
That's fair. I don't want to run either. So I get it.
Yeah, but I would love to have a book club. I think that would be cool. I just have to maybe broaden my horizons on the types of books I'm reading because I will read basically the same story with different characters.
Well, I would be interested in joining a book club. I was in a book club some years ago. I guess it was during the pandemic. I found that the books that I would vote for did not get voted for. And so I kind of lost interest after trying to read a couple of the books that just didn't do it for me.
We tried to start a book club. We got through one book because I don't know, everybody voted for this book, but then nobody wanted to read it after. And it wasn't the book I voted for either. That's why I was mentioning it, because I was like, well, why all y'all vote for this if y'all want to read this? But anyway, that's a topic for another day because I was, devastated that I paid for a book. I usually read all my books on my Kindle, so I had to go out and buy this.
Why did you have to buy it?
Because it wasn't on the Kindle. Well, you had to pay for it. It wasn't like an unlimited book.
Got it.
But anyway, that's another option for people. Moving on.
Some more physical activity clubs or clubs.
It's a club.
Yeah. Some more physical activity clubs. Rock climbing. I think that's a more expensive one though.
Is it?
That's my assumption.
I don't think so actually. I think you can just go in and pay for like a day pass, or you can have a membership.
Right, but how much is a day pass?
$20.
We're gonna have to look that up because I'd be, if it's that cheap, awesome. I thought it'd be more.
Well,
I thought it'd be more like 50 to 75 a day.
We'll have to look into that and see.
In my mind, it was like I was thinking like snowboarding prices for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Because of the safety involved. I don't know. Anyways,
you sign a waiver.
Yes. There's also dancing. I think back to my college days. Me and my roommate Cassie used to just be doing all sorts of choreography. Pick a song for whatever reason. We needed 4 8 counts, ready to go, and we might spend a Thursday night making up a dance just because.
Yeah. But I think part of this in our lists is ultimately people don't want to be like bad at things. And people don't want to have to learn how to do these things.
I feel that deeply.
So I think that also is what hinders some of the participation in these activities and the energy, which we've talked about quite often. But yeah, doing a dance would be really nice. Or doing a dance class. Those are just hard to find. But, I will do a TikTok dance as well.
You do love yourself a TikTok dance. Tell her to post more. She's better than she thinks she is.
Anyway. Another idea for a party, but it doesn't have to include drinking per se, but maybe could include some role play or theatrics. We talked about having theme parties where you dress up as a TV or movie character and you have to act out part of the scene. And maybe it could be that you act out the scene to help people figure out what your character is if they don't know already. But moral of the story is that you guys all acted out. And that could be pretty fun.
Yeah, one I saw this summer was someone did a Denzel Washington themed party.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone came dressed as an iconic Denzel character, and then they had a little monologue prepared for their moment.
That sounds really fun. And it's just a memory that you're creating with a group of people, but it doesn't have to be so serious and so deep. But
It definitely would
but
be
also
silly.
you'll all remember it tomorrow. Another option, they're actually doing this across from my house right now, but they're having karaoke on Fridays from 6 to 9. I was trying to get Brandon to
Oh,
go. He was saying
fun.
no. But I think that could be fun.
I would do that.
Something that's obviously could be kind of embarrassing, quote unquote. But you could also do this at home. You could have karaoke nights with your people.
You have karaoke mics.
I do have karaoke mics. So maybe I'm going to have a karaoke party and I'll invite you guys.
I think most people are bad at karaoke, though.
Which is fine.
And it's less energy than dancing in comparison. So I think more people would be down for it. Let us know.
Yeah.
Do some karaoke.
And this one, actually, this next one, my friend texted me about because I like to cook and bake and stuff. And she was like, this seems like something you would do, but it's to just have a cook off. Like everybody either finds a recipe in a cookbook or something, and we all have to make the stuff and bring it to the party. And then we eat it and vote on what's the best. So I thought that could be a fun way to interact, but do something different. It still includes food, but we're also trying something new.
It's much more active and engaging than like just bringing something. There's more love and thought put into it. And if you can cook together, that could be even more interesting.
Yeah, I just figured there's not necessarily enough space for us to all cook our meals in the same spot. But
if you go on like Peerspace or even doing an Airbnb, depending on like, again, being intentional, right? You could rent out a Peerspace for a few hours, and some of them have industrial size like kitchens.
That's true.
Because people film like their own shows and content in there. So just an idea. Thinking outside the box.
But also thinking about your Peerspace is you can rent those out to host things that you're interested in as well and be promoting them and marketing for them and have people come. I know that ends up costing you money, but maybe you have some people that you can crowdsource with. I feel like I've noticed, like when I was teaching, I posted online like, hey, I'm trying to raise money for my class, and whatever you can donate is appreciated. And I got like $600 worth of stuff for my class. And I feel like I didn't think anybody would support me, but I was surprised to see like even people just sending me $5. It added up to a whole, like I didn't need anything for my class for the rest of the year. So that was really nice. And I feel like we have to realize that we are the community that we need. We just have to share and tell people what we want to do and have a plan.
Yeah, and I think also to your point, don't be surprised that people want to give for things that aren't just about fun. Because I think people would also be down to have maybe more of a spiritual experience, or like maybe you're doing a sound bath or a meditation together. I think there are lots of ways, like we said, outside of food and drink, but also just like mentally being in the same headspace as someone, and sharing an experience that way can be different, because how often do you do that?
Yeah. Like we had kind of briefly mentioned, like people trying to host retreats and do things like that. You could really crowdsource those things. If you can prove what your plans are, people will support you. It's just that you have to be intentional about saying what you're trying to do. And also, some of the people who just want to attend it, but maybe don't know how to create this for themselves, might donate so that you can create the thing for them. You just have to be willing to put yourself out there, I think.
You know, something I did not realize, I see a lot of creators, but travel creators specifically, when they host like a retreat or an event, I didn't realize that really what they were doing was just
promoting the location.
Getting the money from people so that they can get the money to book the thing. And oftentimes, if they're smart, people are essentially paying for them to go and create the experience. And so your ticket price as a guest traveler, not having to worry about anything, is paying for your stay plus the creator who organized it. I was like, now I don't really have anywhere to go, and I don't really want to plan nothing like that. Right. But if you ever did want to go somewhere, but two, build community with people who are maybe adventurous, or I'm thinking of like people go to like Bali or Thailand, right, to go to yoga retreats and things like that.
My dream.
Like your dream. You can do it. I'm gonna
do it. Don't worry, I'll be there.
there are people who are willing to join you on that adventure, and I think that's kind of cool. Definitely scary,
But
but
I think you
cool.
just spoke a good fact that like if you plan it out far enough in advance and people are paying you on a payment plan or something, they're literally creating the trip for you. All you had to do was create the advertisement. And then you go on the back end once you have their money and create the experience for them, like the travel agent or something.
Right, and I said content creator. It doesn't even have to be on that scale. You can hit up your family. We've been talking about planning a cousin's trip,
which we will.
And
my Google form is coming.
The Google form is coming, right? So it's really as simple as making the form and sending it to your loved ones to see who's down for the ride.
Right. It doesn't have to be these random people going with you. It can really be the people who are actually in your community. Which, sorry, I won't say this right now. We could save this for another episode.
Okay. And the travel doesn't have to be far either. You could always do a little mini road trip or go explore a city you've have next door that you've never been to.
Go stay in the redwoods or go up north somewhere.
I'm sure there are tons of places within an hour or two that I have not been to. Now, are they exciting? I mean, I don't know, do your research, but I mean, even if it's just to go try ice cream at this one ice cream shop that's the best ice cream shop in Santa Rosa, I don't know.
But that was one thing Brandon and I was talking about, was just managing what your idea of excitement is. Like, is your idea of excitement being wild and reckless and crazy, putting yourself in danger, doing things that you wouldn't typically engage in? Is like, what are you deeming as a super fun experience?
That's a great question. That's something I'm definitely wrestling with my free time, because I feel like things either feel too effortful or too boring. And it's like, well, girl, pick something.
Right. But overall, it's an issue about, I'm like getting into my work bag, but it's just a lack of stimulation. So you want to be stimulated by the things. And so if you're always constantly overstimulated by your media or your activities, then a lot of these things that we're sharing might seem like they're boring or not as fun. But that's just because you are always operating in a space of being overstimulated. It's not that these things are not good for
right. Like slowing down and sitting in the sun is a great thing, but to some it might feel like
it's a jolt of discomfort.
Yeah.
So
I also think seeing people live their lives online, like if your idea of a good time is, or what you think is exciting, is a yacht party, but you don't have access to a yacht,
you're always going to be bored until you get your yacht.
Yeah. So I think it's also sometimes seeing what we think other people have or have access to, and being like, our level of excitement isn't good enough.
Yeah. So basically, we just wanted to kind of close this out with our sister circle question. But what is something you'd want to do with your community, meaning your friends, your group of people that you come together with at work, your family, etc.? What's something you'd want to do? And is it something we listed, or is it something different?
Yeah, and if you have something different, please let us know in the comments. We are still looking for ideas for ourselves. Obviously, we started a podcast, but there are lots of other ways that you can connect.
So, thanks for watching.
Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.